I wanted to make sure that you do not forget, and I want to recap on these things just to make sure. Please, let's not forget this. And one is the pre-snap routine. I still see officials doing everything else other than what they should be doing right before the snap, or right before the kick. All right. Talking to coaches, having conversation with coaches on the sideline is not what we should be doing before snap. We shouldn't be turning our backs to the field of play before the snap. Uh, Conversation with coaches need to be very small and little throughout the game. All right. It's great to build a rapport with coaches, but that doesn't mean they're not going to snap on you when they think you did something incorrect. Okay. So what I do not like to see is when I have officials out there and they're turned sideways and they're talking to a coach waiting for the ball to be snapped. And it's like, okay, what are you doing? All right. We have pre-game responsibilities. And remember, like I said before, it's not a time to check out. It is time to prepare and anticipate the next play. All right. That means counting your defense if you're a wing official. That means counting your offense if you're the umpire or headlines, or the referee. You should not be just chilling on the sideline when you have responsibilities and duties to do. We talked about dead ball foul mechanics. Again, blowing the whistle, throwing the flag, stopping the clock. I think one out of all three of those, I think the one is most neglected is stopping the clock. All right, we'll blow the whistle and we'll throw the flag, but we have to use the stop clock mechanics, which is this when we have a foul. Okay. And also, if you have a dead ball foul and it looks like the play is going to continue, it is a great time to tweak the whistle, blow the whistle as much as you can to stop the play from continuing. You got to shut down the play. The next one we talked about is live ball fouls. On this one, we just throw the flag. There's no whistle. When the play is over, is we because again, if it wasn't a head linesman that threw the flag, let's say it was the line judge on the other side, and if you just dropped the flag and the head linesman didn't see it or the referee didn't see it, and let's say the play went downfield and it's looking like it's a first down, if you're not shutting down and blow and laying on that whistle, the chain is going to start to move, and then we're going to have another issue that we got to rectify on trying to put the chains in the box back where it was before. So again, as soon as the play is over, we want to lay on that whistle. We want to blow it as much as we can. We want to let everybody know there's an issue, and don't stop, don't move anything. Um, and again, what I've been seeing is a lot of us not doing it, and it's something that we really need to start doing. All right, the next thing is squaring off. When forward progress, squaring off on the spot, giving the runner all yardage that runner gain prior to having contact with an opponent, and making sure we're not backstepping where the runner lands or where it get pushed back to, but we're going to the spot where the runner was made contact and giving the runner all the yardage that runner gained. And last and foremost, at this point, is uh, spotting the ball with your downfield foot. Okay, which means you spot the balls with different feet. All right, we're ambidextrous when it comes to using our feet to spot the ball. If we're going to our left, we're going to spot the ball with our left foot. If the offense is going to the right, we're going to spot the ball with our right foot. This is our downfield foot, and it changes depending on the direction of the offense. We shouldn't be spotting the ball all the time with our right foot, and we shouldn't be spotting the ball all the time with our left foot. We spot the ball with our downfield foot. And all of these are indicators to let me know if you are really trained, if you've really been trained as a game official. When I see little things missing, it tells me you need to be retrained or you've never been trained. And all of these things are great uh, to give you the confidence to let you know, hey, yeah, I meant to be an official. Being an official is more than just putting on a shirt, buying some shorts, and buying a hat buying a whistle, putting a beanbag in your belt, right? That doesn't make you a game official, right? That makes you look like one. To be a game official is all about mechanics and all about knowing what you're supposed to be doing on that field when you're supposed to be doing it, all right? So let's go ahead and get started in today's training today. All right, so today we're going to be looking at touchdown, touchbacks, and safety. In the email I sent out, I said, what about these three do they have in common? And it's the football. Okay? It is, if the ball is dead in the end zone in either player possession or it becomes dead behind the goal line, let's say it goes out of bounds behind the end line or the boundary lines, but behind the goal line, it's going to be either a touchdown, a touchback, or a safety. So let's dive into this and let's find out what is a touchdown, what is a touchback, what is a safety, and then we're going to look at some things that you may have not known when it gets down to what we call new force, because new force can change the aspect of the ball if it's going to be a touchback or a safety. All right, so before we get started, let's go over some goal line situations. Let's go over some pre-adequates or etiquettes or whatever you want to say it about when we get to the goal line. One, the umpire should never rule on touchdowns. I've seen it in games, umpire throws up a touchdown signal. Let's get that straight. Umpires should never, ever, for the most part, signal touchdown. That's not one of your responsibilities. It belongs to the wing officials and allow them to have it, or the referee if the ball is intercepted and running back the opposite direction. So the referee and umpire don't have proper angle to tell whether the ball is located when the runner's down or the knee touches the ground. So because the umpire and referee are not in great position to see that, like his knee touches it, but the ball didn't cross, or there was the ball was down, and through the second effort it crosses over. This is the reason why we don't like to see the referee and umpire signal touchdowns. Okay. For example, you can't judge on forward progress, obviously, and umpires do not screen off wing officials by straddling the goal line. Again, I see in the game, umpire is sitting on the goal line, blocking the view of a wing official and signaling touchdown. That's not your responsibility. You should back into the end zone and stay out of the way and let the wing officials see the goal line. So it moves a couple steps backwards, get out the way, and it go one. This is depends on either one, but umpires, no secret signals. I know we have it. I give you a thumbs up if the ball is in the end zone, or I grab my whistle. We don't encourage umpire giving signals. Again, if the ball is in the end zone, that doesn't mean it's a touchdown. All right, it could have been down prior to that. So just back up and let the wing officials do their job. All right, so this is another thing, because again, we see this. I see this a lot. Only the wing official that actually see the ball and the runner break the plane of the goal line should signal the touchdown. All right. We do not need two wing officials to signal touchdown just for the heck of signal touchdowns. All right. We do not mirror touchdown signals ever. Okay. So that means if you see in the pick here, 21 is not facing the wing official closest to the screen. So the referee on the wing official on the opposite side can see the ball breaking the goal plane and signaling touchdown. Does that mean the other wing official signal touchdown? No. The only one that see the ball cross the goal line should signal touchdown. And what I normally, and again, a good practice, if the ball goes out in either side zone of official and is scored a touchdown, only official of that side zone should give the signal. Even though you see it cross, we don't need your signal. All right. That'll get you in a great habit of not mirroring touchdown signals. We mirror stop clock, we mirror blowing the whistle, but what we do not mirror is touchdown signals. All right. If the covering official is incorrect, now we got two officials who made the same mistake. All right. So we don't need touchdown signal validations. We don't need it. So if you don't see it, don't signal touchdown. It doesn't make a difference. Let's say you're tracking the play and there's already another wing official there and they signal touchdown. We don't need you to run down to the goal line and signal touchdown too, right? I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the things all wing officials love to do, but we just don't need it. If it's in the left side zone, if it's in a line judge side zone, line judge gives a touchdown signal. Head linesman don't need it. If it's in the head linesman side zone, head linesman give a touchdown signal. Line judge, we don't need your touchdown signal. All right. When possible, wing officials must be on the goal line to rule on goal line plays, and we'll cover that in more detail in a second. All right, let's talk about goal line mechanics. Again, something that I see that we're liking a lot in. And again, if you're not taught this, you're not going to get it. And even when you're taught it, you're still going to forget it. And this is something that, as if you're a crew chief or if you're another wing official, y'all need to be reminding each other on what your responsibilities are when you're within the goal line. Okay. In 4 and 5 person crew mechanics, we're not talking about 6 or 7 mechanics. The goal line mechanics begin on the 10-yard line. Okay. This is when goal line mechanics begin. All right. Wing officials should never allow the runner to get between them and the goal line. All right. When we're in goal line mechanics mode, the runner should never get between you and the goal line. You should be at the goal line before the runner even gets close or even cross the goal line. So let's look at some out of mechanics manual and let's look at this goal line mechanics in detail. Again, it's something you got to remind yourself all the time, something you got to visualize all the time, because even those I talk to about goal line mechanics, they still forget, they still zone out. All right, so beginning, straddle the line of scrimmage 1 yard outside the sideline. Do not be on the field. I don't care if it's rookies, freshmen. I don't care if they're little kids, tiny kids, flag football. It doesn't matter. Get in the habit to stay off the field of play before the snap. There's no reason for you to be on the field. All right? No reason. 2, on the snap if we're between the 5 and the 10-yard line, this is what you need to be doing. Release slowly downfield and stay ahead of the runner to the goal line. So unlike in the field of play, like in the rather we're not talking about goal line mechanics, we're talking about not 10-yard line, but outside that, between the 10s and 10, we're supposed to stay on the line of scrimmage, either back into the offensive backfield, wait till the runner passes us, and then trail the runner, right? That's what we do between the 10 and the 10. But when we get inside the 10-yard line or inside the 10-yard line, it's completely reversed. Now we move in front of the runner. So as soon as the ball is snapped, we're moving toward the goal line. We're not moving we're not moving to the goal line, we're moving toward the goal line. And we're following the play and following the runner so that when we get to the goal line, then the runner crossed the goal line or doesn't cross the goal line, but we're there prior to the runner getting to the goal line. All right, so on the snap inside the 5-yard line, we release to the goal line and officiate back to the ball. So now the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, 3-yard line, 4-yard line, 5-yard line, as soon as the ball is snapped, we go straight to the goal line. We don't sit and wait. We don't watch to see what's going to happen. It doesn't make if they get tackled in the backfield. It doesn't matter. As soon as the ball is snapped, we release directly to the goal line. All right. Then we note the furthest point of which the ball advanced. So the ball touches the plane, we call it a touchdown. If it doesn't make it to the 1 or 2, we come back, we spot the ball, and we move forward. All right. So in short of the goal line, moving quickly and help marking the point with the downfield foot, or by actually placing the ball. So in other words, and we'll look at a play here in a second. If we work in goal line mechanics, and it's a hard play to the end zone, and let's say that runner doesn't get in there, right? We want you to back up, run in, and say no, it's not in. Take the ball. The wing official can literally come in, take the ball, and say no, the ball is right here, spot it within the hash mark, and boom, right? When you sell it, that's what we call selling it. That you letting everybody know that, hey, yeah, they didn't make it. You're not looking like, I don't know, it could have been, and you're looking so indecisive, which again creates an open up window of a whole bunch of other problems, and giving your white hat or your referee a tough time after that. But again, sell it. If it didn't make it in, run in. No, it's right here, Spot the ball with your downfield foot, or let the umpire does it. If it's score, if it's in, and you get pushed back, you run up the end zone, the goal line, signaling touchdown that he's in. All right. If you see the ball in possession of the runner, touch or cross the goal line plane, instantly give the touchdown signal. Now, I highlighted the word touch because a lot of people understand that the white line that's signaling the goal line, that entire white line is in the end zone. The ball does not have to cross the 4-inch white line to be a touchdown. Once the ball gets to that imaginary plane, the front of that white line, and it goes up into infinity, once it touches that line, it's a touchdown. Okay? If the ball does not break the goal plane or touch the plane, do not give any signal. Throw your hand up. We're right here. This is the next down. We're not signaling touchdowns. We're not doing anything like that, and so on and so forth. So one of the things that I always like to say, from the 10-yard line, we lead them in. From the 5-yard line, we beat them in. Okay? So as a little motto, I say, so when we're on the 10-yard line, we're going to lead them in. We're going to be ahead of the runner. All right? On the 5-yard line, we're going directly to the goal line. We're going to beat them to the goal line prior to them getting there. Let me see if I can get to these videos without going through a whole bunch of issues here. Let's see here. Of course, it's not showing. Give me a second. All right, so we're going to look at a couple of plays in regards to goal line mechanics, and that's what I have to say. If you can't hear the volume, let me know. I should have the volume. Let me see, sharing. Yep, sound. We're good there. All right.
Here is an example of goal line mechanics handled correctly. The ball is snapped from Team B's 4-yard line. At the snap, the head linesman moves quickly toward the goal line. When the runner is stopped short, the official works back to the spot of forward progress. He squares off and marks the spot.
Now, we've seen that one, and again, like I said before, you move directly to the goal line because he's within the 5-yard line. But if it looks like one of them things where they don't know, it's nothing wrong. there's nothing wrong with the wing official running in and helping get the spot as well. Okay. So if you look at the mechanics manual, it literally tells you to come into the numbers after each play. We call it accordion. So as the play is over, we come in to the numbers, to our closest player, and then we back out. After every play, we don't just perch on the sideline. We should be coming in and then going back out. All right. So look at another one.
When the ball is snapped from on or inside Team B's 7-yard line, the wing officials should begin moving toward the goal line at the snap. The line judge correctly moves downfield but stops short of the goal line. He correctly moves off the sideline, which improves his angle and is a safety measure. This is an obvious touchdown, but straddling the goal line on these plays is a good habit to get into for plays that call for a more difficult decision.
All right. So again, this is what we normally see a lot of wing officials do. They will stop, and again, they allow the runner to get between them and the goal line. If there was a lot more attention there, a lot more resistance by the opponent, we want you to be on that goal line. Don't leave the goal line. Also, if it looked like they get more pressure, back up. You want to back up as far as you need to back up. You just don't want to go left or right. You just want to back up to create more distance for your safety. So look at a bad mechanic, or let's say incorrect mechanics. And this is what we normally see a lot from wing officials today. All right.
The ball is snapped from about Team B's 2-yard line. In a non-goal line situation, when a run threatens the side zone, it is proper for the wing official to step farther into the offensive backfield as a safety measure.
Now again, because this is what we're supposed to do outside the 10-yard line, if you don't think about it, you're going to continue to do that when the goal line is threatened, when you're supposed to be doing goal line mechanics. You're going to be thinking about doing the same thing when you're outside there, which is okay outside the 10. But inside the 10-yard line, this is not what we want you to do.
In this case, however, the goal line is threatened. The proper move would be to get to the goal line while moving farther off the sideline in order to rule on the goal line but maintain distance and angle.
All right, so this is what we normally see, and most wing officials do. It's something that we need to work on, and it's something you got to work on all the time. I get officials that work with me for a week on a Saturday, and by the 5th game, I got them recalibrated. They're doing their goal line mechanics, and then I don't see them again for a few weeks, and then when I see them again, they forgot all about goal line mechanics. Okay, these are something that we look at, and I'll be honest with you. When I be looking for officials who are going to be going toward, like I say, Super Bowl or things of that nature, I promise you that's what I'm looking for. All right. I'm looking for, do this official know his goal line mechanics? Do they know any of the mechanics? Because there's only one way to do it. There's no optional way to do it. It's only that way to do it. Come on. Let's see if I can get myself back on my PowerPoint. I hate this. Give me a second. Why is it not? There we go. All right. So goal line awareness, and we saw that on the last one. If a play or run is coming toward the wing official, get as far off the sideline as possible. All right. So we don't want you to back left or right. Which one want you to back up? All right. Increase safety to increase the safety of the officials and players, and to widen your angle so you can see more. The closer you are, the less you're going to be able to see. The further you back, the more you'll be able to see. All right. If a runner does not threaten the goal line, officials back to the ball. So in other words, if as you see in these pick here in pick 7, you went to the goal line, the player got tackled short of the goal line, so you back up and you square off, reverse square off, and get the spot. All right. And then the other official who didn't see it will obviously mirror the other official. So let's talk about touchdowns. All right. So as you see right here, this goal line, this pick of the goal line. So the white line is completely in the end zone. So the end zone is not the blue. Okay. The end zone is the white and the blue. And let me see if I get my laser light here. So right here is where the goal line begins. All that runner has to do is touch that white line, and it goes all the way into space. So if the tip of that ball touch that front of that line, is a touchdown. It doesn't make a difference if they get pushed back. It doesn't make a difference if somebody knock the ball out their hands. Once they touch this front of this line, touchdown, ball is dead, and it's over. All right. The goal line is entirely in the end zone. The vertical plane is actually the goal line. All right. The goal line extends from sideline to sideline. The end zone is about 10 yards deep. We all know that. And located on each side of the field. We already know that. Team's end zone is the one it's defending. All right. So, touchdowns. The possession of a live ball in the opponent's end zone is always a touchdown. All right. So, if it's my opponent's end zone and I possess the ball in that end zone and it's a live ball, it doesn't make it. It's not a safety. It's not a touchback. It's always a touchdown. It is a touchdown win, and this is something you don't really see, but it is a rule. We don't see it, but it's good to know just in case it ever happens. All right. The ball in possession of a runner has penetrated the opponent's goal line plane. The ball does not have to touch anything in the end zone. All right. The runner does not have to be beyond the goal line or physically be in the end zone. Right. We talked about that. All you got to do is touch it. The player can very easily break the plane, such as biking in, as you see in the picture here. But the ball must still be in the but the ball may still be in the field of play when it's ruled dead. In such case, it is no score. So this right here would be very tough to rule on, obviously. If it had a video, you could probably see it. You know, they shorten it and say, oh, look, it wasn't really in. Make your call. But let's say his butt touches and the ball really did not touch. It didn't break the plane or touch the plane in your judgment. You're going to come in, you're going to sell it. He's down inches before the end zone. And, you know, coach is going to get upset, whatever, just run the play and score. However, that's why it's so important. There should be only one signal on this play, because obviously the other wing official on the opposite side would not be able to see if that ball crosses. And we don't need that other official on the other side to signal, to mirror the signal of a touchdown. So here we go. It's a touchdown when a loose ball is caught or recovered by a player while the ball is on or behind his opponent's goal line. So if a player goes up and catches the ball in the end zone, but get hit by the opponent and lands inbound in the field of play, the runner gets his forward progress, and the forward progress is in the end zone, so it will be a touchdown. When a backwards pass is declared dead in the end zone of an opponent of a player who threw it while no player is in possession, other than because of an inadvertent whistle. So this is something that you may not know, because I think I've seen it in a college game, and it's different in college, but we're talking about the National Federation of High School rules, and that's what youth fall on as well. Let's say, and you know that common one where the runner is running and drop the ball inches before actually crossing the goal line. He dropped the ball in the field of play. And let's say he dropped the ball in the field of play, but the ball rolls into the end zone. Okay. So he didn't take it across in there, but it rolled in the end zone on its own. And everybody is left and everybody went to their side, and no one got your little hints that it wasn't that you didn't give a signal yet. If you declare the ball dead, it's a touchdown. It does not have to be in player possession. Remember, the ball belongs to the team who in last possession of the ball. A loose ball belongs to the team who is in last possession. So a loose ball that went into the end zone off from an opponent into the opponent end zone still belongs to that opponent. And as long as you don't blow an inadvertent whistle, if the ball is declared dead in the end zone, it's a touchdown. And, goal line pylons are entirely out of bounds. All right, the goal line may be extended outside the goal line pylon. So just like the end zone goes all the way into the air, it goes into infinity left and right. The ball that breaks the plane of the goal line extended while player is in possession inbounds, the runner is a touchdown. All right, for example, A2 runs for a right-handed pylon. The ball is in his right hand. It crossed the extended of the goal line outside the pylon, and then A2 steps into the goal line, touchdown. However, it's different in this case. When a runner is airborne, the runner on the ball must break the goal line plane in bounds. Okay. So in this example, the runner dives, not touching in bounds, but crosses the goal line extended, but lands out of bounds. So the ball would be spotted where the foremost point of the ball was at when it crossed. So the ball will be spotted here, I guess the 1 yard line. It won't be a touchdown because the runner landed out of bounds and not in bounds. So let's talk about this a little bit, and that is fouls on touchdowns. I'm going to be very short. It is a pet peeve of mine. I promise not to be too long on it. All right. Touchdown is nullified if the penalty for a foul by the scoring team, other than non-player unsportsmanlike, which occurs during a down resulting in a touchdown if the foul is accepted. So in other words, blindside block, holding, blocking the back, any live ball foul that happens prior to the touchdown, we're going to nullify the touchdown and we're going to assess the penalty. However, again, I think the biggest confusion that we have today is college football. Because college football have created a rule that if there's unsportsmanlike conduct like taunting prior to a touchdown, that they're going to nullify the touchdown and mark off the unsportsmanlike conduct at the spot of the foul. And because many of our officials love to watch college football, they interpret that to mean that in the National Federation of High School rules, that rule is the same. That rule is not the same. Okay. In other words, taunting a player prior to scoring does not nullify a touchdown. In NCAA, it does, but not in NFHS. Okay. In the NFHS football rules, taunting an opponent does not nullify a touchdown. Defense, what's going to happen? Defense may choose to have that penalty assessed on the try or the following kickoff. All right. So that's one of the biggest things that I have seen since 2004, when in the association we discussed this. I've seen it in 2008 at Nationals. I've seen it in 2021 at a youth football tournament. We do not nullify touchdowns for unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player fouls. Okay? Those fouls are marked from what they call the succeeding spot. And the succeeding spot is a spot where the ball will be next put in play or the subsequent kickoff. All right, let's talk about touchbacks. In order to understand a touchback or safety, this is where you got to understand force. This is where it's very important to understand force. All right. The key to determining a safety or a touchback is force that caused the ball to go in from the field of play into the end zone. So force is the energy, is what caused the ball to go into the end zone. All of these things is what determine if it's going to be a touchback or a safety. Okay. So again, the energy, that movement of the ball, the significant only the ball goes from the field of play to the end zone. That's the only time we talk about force. We don't care about it going out of bounds in the field of play in between the end zone. It's how the ball got from the field of play into the end zone is what would determine if it's going to be a touchback or a safety if the ball becomes dead in the end zone or behind the goal line. All right. The initial force result from a carry, a fumble, a kick, or pass, or a snap. All right. New force cannot be imparted to a ball in flight. So in other words, if let's say you're punting the ball from your 5-yard line, and when you kicked it, the defender blocked the ball at the line of scrimmage, and it goes back into the end zone, that's a deflection of the same force. Is not a new force. Okay. A new force cannot be applied to a ball in flight. Okay. Once the ball is on the ground, however, then we can have a new force. It can result from a bat. It can result from an illegal kick or a muff. Okay. So in other words, I'm trying to pick the ball up, and I'm in my failed attempt to secure possession, I push the ball into the end zone. All right. When the ball is at rest or nearly at rest, almost any contact will cause a new force. So if the ball is at rest or nearly at rest in the field of play, and someone's trying to get possession of that ball, and if they muff the ball, now they cause a new force, which is an exception to the rule about the ball being in the end zone. And we'll look at this again tomorrow. So another way to get a touchback is through a kickoff. Okay. So any kick, force is not included in kicks. Okay. So it don't make a difference how the ball got into the end zone during a kick. I can muff it in there, whatever. Once the ball breaks the plane, it becomes a touchback. Okay. So it's not, that's as long as a kick. If I secure possession on the field of play, and then my momentum take me into the end zone, um, that's it's going to go where I was at, but it won't be dead unless I get tackled in the end zone, or if I go in the end zone on my own. That's not a touchback. But as long as no one had possession of the ball prior to it breaking the goal line plane, it's a touchback. All right. These are all non-scoring kicks in ours end zone. The ball is dead. Again, once it breaks the plane, it is a touchback. Only kicks going into ours end zone. Force is not a factor, regardless who supplies the force to the ball. So let's talk about touchback. Here we see a fumble. So A is trying to get into B's end zone. B hits A. He fumbles the ball, and the ball rolls into the end zone. Now, this is not considered new force because the ball was going to go in the end zone no matter what happened. Okay. So if B lands on the ball in their end zone when it was forced in the end zone by the opponent, or it belongs to the opponent, is a touchback. We all know that. Okay. If 10B intercepts a pass in the end zone, the force that puts the ball in the end zone is the pass. If there's a fumble, it's still the same thing. If the ball becomes dead behind the goal line without ever left the end zone, is a touchback. So if I intercept it in my end zone and then I try to leave out, but I get tackled while I'm in the end zone, is a touchback. One of the misconceptions is that if someone try to get out of the end zone but don't make it, it's a safety. That's not true. As long as I'm on the end zone, it'll make it difficult what I try to do while I'm inside there. If I get tackled while I'm still in the end zone, it's still a touchback. Right? If a fumble recovered by a team in its own end zone or goes out of bounds, there is a touchback. So even if they didn't recover it in the end zone, let's say it roll out behind the goal line, it'll still be a touchback. Safety. All right. So let's see here. For a safety to occur, the team must force the ball into its own end zone. So on this picture here, you see that B2 intercepted the ball. B2 ran down the sideline, down the 5-yard line, then went inside the end zone for whatever reason and got tackled there. Well, his force put that ball into the end zone, onto his own end zone. So if he got tackled there with possession of the ball, it's a safety. All right. We just discussed that. So again, here, the ball is blocked. So this is not considered a new force because it was blocked. It's a redirection of the same force, which is by A. So if A recovers the ball in their end zone from this block kick, it's a safety. If B recovers it, it's a touchdown because any live ball ever recovered in opponent's end zone is a touchdown. So it's just like a grounding or illegal forward pass or safety in the end zone. So obviously, if there's a foul, if A commits a foul in their own end zone, don't make if it's holding or wherever the case may be, it is a safety. I know the new rule has said that it goes back to the previous spot, but that's with the exception of any foul that happens in A's end zone by A. All right. All right. So holding, anything happening in end zone is a safety. So here goes one that when we're talking about new force. Okay. Team applies new force to ball at rest. Ball goes into team's own end zone, and the ball becomes dead there, or rolls out of bounds in the end zone. So let me explain this to you. So A fumbles the ball, right? Let's say we had goal line mechanics, and there's a fumble, and the ball is fumbled, like you see here, at the 3-yard line. Okay, and the ball is you're judging that the ball is not going to go into the end zone based on that fumble. It's nearly at rest on the 3-yard line. And let's say B tries to secure possession of the ball, but muffs the ball, and the ball rolls into the end zone and out the end line. Some officials may think this is a touchback, but in all actuality, it's a safety. All right. This is the exception to the rule. All right. A loose ball belongs to the last team in possession of that ball. However, if a loose ball is in the field of play and an opponent, by their touching the ball, cause that ball to go into their end zone, and let's say again on this pick out of the end zone, it becomes a safety. Now, a great rule that a lot of people don't know, and I love to discuss it. How can A, on a try, get a 1 point on a safety? All right. If you look in your rule book, in Rule 8, it says that A can score 1 point safety on a try. How does that happen? Well, what you're seeing right here. All right. So let's say the offense is going for a 2-point try. All right. Not trying to do a field goal, is going for a 2-point try. And doing that 2-point try, they fumble the ball. And while the ball is loose, B tries to jump on the ball, but muffs the ball into their end zone where they either land on it or it goes out the end line. Because of that new force and because they caused the ball to go into their end zone and it becomes dead there, offense gets 1 point for a safety on a try. Right? This is something very little people know or even ever seen, or probably seen it and ruled it incorrectly. But there's a way offense can get 1 point on a safety, and that's through this example here. All right. Fumble from the field of play goes into team's end zone and becomes dead there or rolls in out of bounds. Safety. All right. So there is an exception to prevent bad safeties. Okay. And that's the momentum exception. All right. The momentum exception was designed to prevent cheap safeties and reward great defensive plays. So, all right, it applies inside team's own 5-yard line when a defensive player intercepts a football within that 5 yards and their momentum takes them into the end zone where they're tackled. It could be a backwards pass, wherever the case may be. And it also applies if a catch recovers a scrimmage kick or a free kick between the 5-yard line and the goal line. So they're going to play here. We're going to see an interception at the 5, and he drug him down into the end zone. So rather than this being a safety because the runner is down in his own end zone, it's a momentum section. And what happens is the ball goes back to the 5-yard line where he intercepted the ball. All right. So that's the momentum exception. Okay. So players' original momentum carries him into the end zone. The ball remains dead in the end zone and declared dead they're in team's possession. Sorry about that. Or goes out of bounds in the end zone. All right. In those cases, the ball belongs to the team in possession at the spot where the pass or fumble, recovered. The cover official will drop a beanbag on the spot where possession is gained. So there's another reason why I use the beanbag, not just for fumbles, but also for interceptions within the 5-yard line where their momentum carries them into the end zone. The original momentum must be the cause of the ball entering the end zone. So again, I'm showing this picture again. If the covering official player judges that the player voluntarily carried the ball across the goal line, the regular rule applies, and it will be a safety. Okay. Now, what about fouls? When a momentum exception applies and the ball becomes dead behind the goal line, if the penalty for a foul either by either team accepted, the end of the run is the momentum spot. So again, if I intercepted on my 5-yard line and then there's a foul that occurred after that interception, but I'm inside my end zone, the foul will be marked from the 5-yard line. All right. It returns right back to the field of play where momentum is lost. If the ball returns into the field of play where momentum exception is lost, and so if I fumble it and it rolls back into the field of play and it becomes dead there, then we don't take it back to the 5-yard line. It becomes dead where it was lost back into the field of play. All right. I think that's it. All right. So you're going to unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, let's go for it.